Hello, everyone. This is our Module 16, and I'm Libbie Stover.
I'm Erin Dickens.
Awesome. So, a little bit about myself and data. I'm an elementary PE teacher, so unfortunately, I don't get a lot of opportunities to really work with data the way I'd like to. But from my experience, when I first started teaching, the state actually mandated all the PE teachers in Kansas to do something called the FitnessGram Pacer test, or I guess all the FitnessGram tests. And we were able to log all that information into this database that went statewide to where if a kid moved to a different school or district, that data would actually follow them. But the state, in my first 2 years of teaching, after my second year, they lost funding. So that service was no longer provided to us. My last school district, which is actually the school district where Aaron's at right now, they actually paid for us to have the FitnessGram program continue, at least just for our school district. However, in the district I'm in now, we just quite frankly don't have the funds for it, or it's not prioritized that way, which is quite unfortunate at times. But other than that, I would like to get more focused in on maybe skills testing as well, and how can we make those less subjective, because I feel like we have so much technology yet we haven't figured out really how to utilize that in a way to really help us in data in a skill setting and physical education. So yeah.
I guess a question that I have is, like, if you notice that there are certain kids that are really lacking in certain skills, do you kind of use that data to reteach small groups, or do you just kind of like reteach it as a whole group, or is it more of a they either do it they either can do it or they can't kind of thing, or how does that work? I'm obviously a classroom teacher, so I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, when you see 500 kids, I don't really, well, and I mean, I probably should keep better track of who was able to step in opposition when they throw and things like that. But the stuff that I mostly document are kids who are not, like, their gross and fine motor skills are not for their grade level. So for
Okay.
example, this past year, like, there was a girl where as she developed, I've had her for 3 years now, and I just realized and started to notice like she's not on grade level with some of the stuff. Took her to the sit process. I did the documentation for all that. Um, but as for kids who I would feel like compared to like MTSS are in certain tiers, I don't really have a means to effectively in 30 minutes do that with a class. So
Understandable.
yeah.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, definitely. The next time I would have them in class, if they were not, where I felt like they needed to be according to the unit, we go over it until I feel like there's the appropriate growth or progress has been made. Now, there's going to be weeks where you have an assembly during that class's core time or kids' classes on a field trip. So, I mean, unfortunately, there are times where, I'll be quite frank, the kids just get shorted. But in a typical school week, yes, they will get retaught or be taught in a different way to where hopefully that change is seen. So yeah. Mhm. Okay, so I guess for me, like what I would want help with is I struggle with the amount of students I have and the amount of standards that we have to grade on just makes me feel like our grades are very subjective. So if you guys have any ways of making grades less subjective, and when you see kids for an hour and a half during the week and you have 500.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah.
yeah, that's a difficult one. I have 10 kids that I see one like all day. I have them all day. So I don't know if I can really relate to that, I guess. Um I don't know. I mean, I feel like a bad partner here because I'm not sure I can offer much help. Because
I
I
get
don't
stuck on it
know.
all the time, so don't worry.
Do you have like, are there any pockets of like in the day that you could, I don't know, like work on those? I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be much help to you on this because I don't know.
Stephanie, any feedback? Yes.
Are there,
Well, right. The way our district actually has it is they make us grade. You give a kid a 1, 2, or a 3, 3 being the highest score. Now, I'm not saying if you were in a setting where you could choose any sort of system and you were not like bound by district mandates, how would
I,
you structure that?
I think one thing, because you talked about how we do have so many standards and so little time to cover everything. One thing that I really like about my district is that we have like focus standards, like the priority standards. Like we know these are the ones that our kids need to know by the end of the year. Um, and then we obviously try to hit on the other ones. So I don't know if that would be something that would kind of try to help at least narrow what you like really want to focus on. Like for first grade, this is what the kids need to do. And so I don't know if having going through and kind of picking out like focus standards that you could really hit on, making sure they knew how to do it, and then obviously hitting on the other ones, but just making sure that they've got the main core things down. I don't know if that would
Yeah.
help at all. I know at least in my world that does, because then like we know that in first grade, money and telling time isn't the biggest, and shapes aren't the biggest concerns. We want to make sure that our kids know addition and subtraction and
Right.
base 10 and all those things. So um, that's what we really focus on. So I don't know if that would help kind of narrow it down at all. Sorry, I don't know if I'm helping you out at all,
No,
but here.
it's okay.
um,
Stephanie, you have
so,
any more thoughts or?
mhm, 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 mhm. Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. Mhm,
Mm, cool. Well, I appreciate that, guys. I think that's pretty helpful. One, I think it brings me comfort that I'm not a crazy person, and because sometimes I
no,
just spin in circles in my head of how I can make it
right.
better.
I think we're
Um,
all right there.
right, and two, just like the thought of prioritizing, when you're in those situations, prioritizing probably
Mhm,
is the first step in making those plans, and maybe that is something that like our elementary PE team needs to sit down together and kind of get that. I don't know if a curriculum map would be the right thing,
mhm,
but
yeah,
something to where
mhm,
we're all on the same page of what is
mhm,
prioritized at what time of the year and
mhm,
things like that.
for sure.
So, yeah, appreciate it. I guess that concludes
Yeah,
our module. Thank you,
yeah.
everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.